my take on Stranger Things. First of all, I will say I liked it. Didn't love it. I did really like it though. Thought it was like a 7.5, maybe 8 out of 10. Pretty good. I will say for a lot of people that are like, it was like mid. Yes, it is. It's a little bit of a letdown, but however, let's not be so negative about this though, because let's think about it. You know how many shows these days, especially through streaming services, don't even make it past like season 2? They get canceled, or they just go off the rails. The Last of Us, Game of Thrones, a lot of other shows. It just Shadow and Bone. It just got straight up canceled. Wednesday, for a second, after its amazing first season, was rumored to just not come back. The fact that this show actually finished is somewhat of a miracle. And the fact most people will agree that it had a good ending. Not perfect, not great, but at least people were mostly satisfied with the ending. I take that as a win, especially because of how, like I said, most streaming shows and other stuff these days has gone. It's just not been very good. Even a lot of older TV shows, Lost, for example, 6 seasons, and at the end it just was absolute trash. So I feel like we should be a little more grateful that this didn't go down the toilet. I think the main reason, though, that people kind of hated it, though, was the pacing. Because, seriously, the pacing of this season, I don't think it was actually that bad. It's the way that they broke it up into the volumes that made it look worse. And especially the last, 3 episodes, they definitely moved certain parts of the episodes to other areas to extend the runtime of the finale episode. And I know for a fact that that original cliffhanger that we wouldn't be able to wait 6 days for because it was going to be so big or whatever was going to be Steve falling off the radio tower. 100%. That was totally what it was going to be. But what happened is Netflix got its greedy little hands in there and was like, no, 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 no. If you're going to put this in the movies, we're going to drag it out as long as possible. And then they did some other stuff. And that's why episode 7 ended up so bad. Because rewatching it, it's not that bad. And I was looking at when it kind of, in my opinion, lost me. And first I thought it was the last 20 minutes. No, it's the last 10 minutes. Maybe. It's just the way that they ended that episode when you're told it's going to be this ultimate cliffhanger and all you get is Vecna grabbing the kids again for the 5th time, because it's okay, we know he has the kids, and they just go like that. That's not a major plot twist or anything. It's just whatever. Or before that, when they're all in the upside down in the car driving towards, it's okay, well, we know where they're going. Okay, this is not a cliffhanger. If they went back and edited it, and they took the first 5 minutes of the bridge, put it at the end of Camazotz, and then took the first 10 minutes of episode 8 and put that in for the end of the bridge, and made the cliffhanger when Steve falls, I think it would have gotten a lot better praise. Because if you look at it, Volume 1 was amazing. Everyone loved it. It was super hyped. Everyone was happy with it. And then Volume 2 came out. A lot of people, especially me, loved Episode 5. And then Episode 6 was really good, but it was a little off. And then Episode 7. So, in my opinion, Netflix should just go back and just be like, hey, we messed up. And just edit it and put it back, because it's not like they're giving us unseen footage or anything. They've already done it before. The Under Armour final cut thing that happened in the show, and they went and quietly edited that out. It's fine. It'll make your customers more happy. Just go and fix it. And, that'll make people a lot more happy. Because I really don't think it was a very bad ending. It wasn't. I think it was actually really good. It's just they needed to fix some stuff. They needed more time fighting the monster as well. in my opinion. And they should have had, I don't think they should have killed someone with the direction they went. I think that they should have had, like, when Nancy got caved in that spot, she should have, like, gotten really hurt, and they had to carry her out, which made it more scary because, you know, they're dragging her out along with a couple other people that are injured. Make their escape more tense and not as just like, oh, just walk in and kill this giant interdimensional monster, and then we're just gonna skip on hopscotch back to the portal. No, like, make it a little bit more scary, because I will say, I think that that would have helped a lot, having that giant, really cool monster they made, have the fight go a little longer. It would have been better. Monster fight should have been longer, should have been a little cooler. It was pretty cool, but, like, that was a really special, awesome monster to reveal, and I feel like they should have given us more time with it. I also was extremely happy with the fact that, one, Henry Vecna, Mr. Whatsit, whatever you want to call him, was a villain through and through, because I was hearing hints and stuff, especially with the first Shadowplay. I'd never seen it, but, like, was told about it, that it looked like the direction they were going was like, oh, actually, Henry's just this misunderstood little kid, and he didn't do anything. It was just the Mind Flayer. No, they showed that he, like, got control of the Mind Flayer, and the scientist was like, don't let it control you, and he's like, it showed me.
It showed me the truth. It showed me that this world is broken, that man is broken. It's never controlled me, and I never controlled it. I chose to join it.
It was always bad through and through. I was so happy about that, because they are humanizing way too many villains these days, and it's getting to the point where they're even, through Netflix itself, is humanizing serial killers, like the Dahmer series, Ed Gein, and the Menendez brothers and stuff. Like, they're just starting to humanize villains a little too much, and it's just getting off. It's too much. And so I was like, I'm sick of this. I want a cold-hearted, just straight evil villain through and through that you kill off, and, like, no one cares about. Well, like, no one feels bad for them. You know, they're not this misunderstood. Like, we needed that. I was really happy about that. I also thought it was cool that Joyce was the one that ended up, like, doing the final blow at the end, and she did it with her axe. That was cool. I liked that. I liked that everyone kind of did their part to kill him. I thought it was going to go weapons mode for a minute when they were, like, freeing the kids, and they all, like, woke up and coughed out the smoke, and then they showed Vecna, and he's still, like, twitching. He's, like, still kind of alive. I was like, are they going to, like, go weapons mode, and all the kids are just going to, like, attack him and, like, stab him or whatever? But no, Joyce came in and just... That was cool. So yeah, that was something I really enjoyed about it. Another thing for me was 11 with her death and all that stuff. I begged ever since season 4, because it was like the most cliche thing, and everyone was saying it and everyone knew it. They're like, she's gonna sacrifice herself to the Upside Down. Like, she's gonna stand there at the entrance of the gate, she's gonna close it off and stuff. Literally what happened. And I was like, please, this is, like, my favorite character. She's been through so much. Just let her go live on an island. I don't care if she loses her powers and never sees Mike again. Let her live her life. This poor thing. Just let her go do her own thing. Let her live. That was the one thing I asked going into the new season, was just leave 11 alone. Do not kill her. And what did they do? They had her sacrifice herself to the Upside Down, blow herself up, and all that stuff. I was furious. Especially when she, like, put Mike into the void to talk, and it started playing the song Purple Rain. I listened to that song a lot, like, cleaning at work and stuff at some of my old jobs, and, like, so I don't absolutely love the song to death, but I really like the instrumentals and stuff, and because it's played all the time, I knew all the lyrics because I've heard it so many times. And so when it started playing with the montage, and, like, the lyrics just hit on top, like, the way that I perceive it and stuff, ooh, I was a mess. Almost as bad of a mess as with Max and Lucas in the end of season 4, maybe worse. It hit me pretty hard. I was mostly angry, though, in the moment. And then at the very end, they did the good old plot twist of like, hey, we're redeeming 8 and showing that she actually helped 11 escape to her island and she got to live her life. I was like, yes. So I was really happy about that at the end. I was like, you got me. That was good. I was very happy. It went from the ending I wanted, the absolute least out of all possible endings for 11, to the number one ending I wanted for her at the very end with like a plot twist. I was really happy about that. And also, I was always a fan of 8. I liked her in season 2. I thought she was a really cool character. I thought that the Lost Sister episode, though, was not good. I thought what they filmed and the storyline was good, but it just wasn't paced right. Especially when you go with episode 6 and it leaves on that big cliffhanger of, he's the spy, you gotta get the soldiers out. And then it's like, everything's about to go to crap, and then all of a sudden it's like, we're gonna go over here and introduce you to this new character that we're just gonna never show ever again for like 9 years. Literally until 2 months ago, everyone was pretty much sure that this character still was just erased from existence and that episode is completely pointless. I always thought they were going to bring her back, though, when they showed that wrap photo of the whole cast all together and there's one person in the background that's blurred out. I was like, that's 8. They're bringing her back because they're too embarrassed to have a big plot hole like that. They're going to fix it. They're going to find a way. And they did. Because I thought she had really cool powers. I thought that her character arc was really interesting. I just thought that the episode she was in was done poorly. It should have been through episodes 6 and 7, like how they usually do it, where there's like multiple storylines and you go back and forth, like with the Russia, California, Hawkins side plot in season 4. It should have been like that. And I don't think people would have been as upset about it. Because like I said, I thought her character was really interesting. It's just that episode as a whole, like as its own standalone episode, it sucks and the pacing on it isn't good. But if you just like mixed in everything, I think it would have been great. Yeah, so I always liked her, and then she came back and I was super excited. And sure enough, she was acting really sus, and I was starting to be like, is she the villain all along? Because she was starting to like convince Elle that she had to die and everything. And then they did that little thing at the end. I was like, nice. I liked that. So that was another thing. Another thing people complained about that I came to my own conclusion on. And this is going to be my final thing on it for now. I'm sure there's a million other things I could talk about right now, but this is my first time ever doing a video like this. So I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back in a year and redo it if this channel actually goes somewhere and I actually like figure out what I'm doing. But here's my consensus. So everyone was like, oh, it's going to be a bloodbath. We're going to lose all these characters. I was convinced too. I thought we were going to lose possibly Karen. We were going to lose Ted. We were going to lose Nancy, Will, Lucas, or Max. Like one of those two was going to die. Joyce, Jonathan. We were going to maybe lose like Murray and stuff. Like literally half of the main characters would just get slaughtered through the season. I was convinced of it. So was everyone else. And I blame that on the marketing. I think another reason people didn't like this as much is because the marketing and the way they talked about this season with it's going to be a dark Christmas and a really like they made it sound like it was going to be so much worse than what actually happened, and it let a lot of people down. I blame that on the marketing and whoever was in charge of doing all that stuff. They messed up. They should have just said it is an epic finale. Y'all are going to love it. It is such a big adventure. Like just keep it vague and just hype people up. And not say like, oh, you're not ready for who, and have like all the people in the interviews be like, oh, does so and so die? And they all just like, like it just, in my opinion, it threw off the vibe of the season and made people think differently of it. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is they should not have made it sound like it was going to be this bloodbath, and we were just gonna like be traumatized and all this stuff. No, it was nothing like season 4, which in my opinion, unbeatable, best season of all time, literally made for me that season. Like literally, I remember it had been so long since season 3. I had watched season 3 when it came out and then never watched it again afterwards. Same with every season. I loved it, but I just never watched it again for some reason. And so when season 4 came out, and it had been years, and I was just kind of like, well, I don't really like the direction the show was going, so like, we'll see what they cooked up. Why not? And we're watching it, and you first see that massacre at Hawkins' lab, and you're like, oh, we're back. This is like supposed to be dark. And then like the way it was moving afterwards, I'm like, okay, I like this. Because when I saw the teaser, I had only ever seen the very first teaser trailer where it just showed like a haunted clock and they were like looking in a house for clues. I'm like, what is this turning into? This isn't Scooby-Doo. I was like, this is a cool premise if they were doing a separate TV show. Like this was just its own thing, not Stranger Things. I'd be intrigued. But what is this? And so I never cared to watch it like when I saw that initial teaser trailer, and then I watched it with my friends. Anyway, I saw that opening scene, thought it was super cool. And then it kept going. I'm like, all right, you have me intrigued. And then Chrissy happened in the trailer, and she levitated, and they showed Vecna, and I was like, oh, and then she levitated, and it was all like Exorcist with the lights going off and stuff, and then she, you know, and then it played that creepy Nightmare on Elm Street music. I was like, this is made for me. I was like, this is what it should be, like supernatural horror, sci-fi stuff. I was like, this is what I'm in for. And the rest of the season did not disappoint. I watched that season on repeat all the time. It is so nostalgic for me as well. That was an amazing summer for me. You cannot beat season 4. Season 5 got close until like episode 7, and it really went downhill for a few minutes, and then the finale came in and kind of saved it. That was another thing I was terrified of, is in episode 7, because the pacing was so bad, I was like, how are they going to finish this in 2 hours? Because I knew that the epilogue was going to be like 40 minutes. I was like, you've got sub 90 minutes to conclude this epic battle where we already were also assuming everyone was going to die. So I was like, how is this going to... I don't know. And they did it in an hour 13. I was impressed. And anyway, so that was my thing on that. But this is my final conclusion to all of this. Yes, I feel like the characters should have experienced more consequences, and having some deaths would have been more heavy and stuff, especially when they were promising it was going to be super heavy and all this stuff. But here's the thing. I liked the fact that everyone made it out alive. They shouldn't have hyped everything up in it like everyone was going to die, because it kind of made you disappointed even though you wanted everyone to live. It was this weird thing that they played on everyone. But in the end, this is an 80s show. And in the 80s, all the movies were feel good. And when you get sci-fi movies from like the 80s and stuff back then, or even in like the 90s with Independence Day, you look at the monsters and stuff they fight, and they shouldn't beat them. You kidding me? The Xenomorph and just Sigourney Weaver is able to kill it? Or the Predator? There's no way that one man or one woman should be able to do it, but they do, because it's supposed to show like the human spirit and stuff, and at the end it's like a feel-good, and at the end somehow it's a miracle, and they all pull it off and live their happy ending. And with the way that a lot of media has been these days, with leaving with really tragic endings and stuff, it's nice to get a break for once. And it, like I said, it's the 80s. It's supposed to be feel good. It's an 80s show in the end, through and through, with giant monsters that they battle and defeat in impossible, ridiculous ways. Really interesting sci-fi lore. It has its plot holes, but who cares? Like, honestly, we can pick at it all day, but in the end, who cares? Because, like I said earlier, there are so many shows these days that have just absolutely bombed it at the end, and this one at least pulled it off. Not perfection, but they got close enough. And so I think we need to appreciate it more. And this finale and this show is going to age really well. Mark my words. Like, once things kind of die out and you give it another, 10 years and you look back, people are going to be really satisfied with the ending. They're still not going to think it's a masterpiece, like I say. I liked it. I really liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. I think that through and through it was a really well done show. Had its moments, but let's be grateful because a lot of things we've been getting these days are really crappy, and that we should be more appreciative of this. Anyway, that's just my opinion. It's been real watching this growing up. I was 12 when it came out, 21 now. It's amazing, like having grown up watching this whole thing unfold, and now that it's over, it's just interesting. Like seeing it's over, like it's done. Speaking of that, the people thinking that there is another episode coming out and that it was all like a lie and stuff, that is another problem I have with media. The reason people are doing this is not because they're so desperate because the ending was bad. It's because we live in a time where things just never die. The MCU, they killed Iron Man and they're bringing him back. They gave Steve Rogers his ending. They kind of killed him. You know, you see him in the end and he's old. He looks like Joe Biden, and he went and lived with Peggy and did his life. So he's not dead, but he's done. And now he's coming back. And, you know, we just keep getting these shows and movies where it just keeps going. Like, where it should have stopped, it just keeps going. And they just keep milking it and pushing it more and more. And it just never ends. And we're living this era where things just don't die or end. And that's a reason why everyone's just, like, so convinced that this is, like, some trick and it's going to keep going. And then we're going to get, like, 50 TV spin-offs of it. I'm sure there's going to be a couple that they're going to try to make. I'm sure. But as a whole, the show is done. They're making an animated spin-off, but it's literally a cartoon. It's definitely not going to be canon. And I think stuff like that is fine. But people need to let endings just happen and for things to actually be done. That's my last take, is the show is done and people just need to appreciate it. So yeah, basically what I'm gonna say in the end is it's an 80s show. It's supposed to be 80s. It's very 80s coded. And in the end, it's a feel-good. Just like all the 80s movies in the past. And you're gonna get your big cheesy happy ending at the end where everyone, you know, is able to walk off into the sunset. And especially in this day and age, we need that a lot more. And so yeah, that's my opinion on it. And I'm signing off for now. See you later.